Hello. Okay, so this episode is going to be a little bit off the dome. I have recently gotten back from my first coaching conference that was unbelievable. And I really wanted to do a podcast to not necessarily recap what I learned, but to kind of share some of the topics, tell you about the experience itself, because it was just incredible. So the conference is called Raise the Bar, and it was in Plano, Texas, which is a suburb of Dallas. And I was very lucky that it was the week of winter break. So, as most of you know, right, I'm a teacher. Teachers, yes, we get a lot of vacation because we have summer and we have school vacations. Yeah. I hear it all the time. But we don't necessarily get vacation when school is in session. Yes, we have sick days. Yes, we have a couple personal days, but those are, and they have to be used very sparingly and almost with permission. So, sick days, yes, you can be sick, but you only get 10 a year. And personal days, you have to put in for them. They almost have to get approved. Not almost, they do. And if you are a female who has had a child, you have to use all your own time for maternity leave. So the fact that I have only been in my current school for this is my sixth year and I have had two children, I had to use almost I did use every single one of my saved sick days and personal days and went unpaid for Rory because she was in no shape for me to go back to work. So I really only had about 2 school years of days to bank. And of course, during those 2 years, I didn't just bank every single day because kids get sick, I get sick, there's events, there's weddings, there's things. So I don't have a lot of time saved up. And I can't just fly across the country and take a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday off, right? I would get in trouble. I would have to probably pay them back money or there would be even bigger problems. So I've kind of hit a barrier with education in the sense of going to different conferences in person. Now, I have absolutely pursued education in the sense of more certifications, listening to hundreds of podcasts, doing courses, and reading books, but I have yet to be to an in person conference. Now, my coach, Aram, was speaking at this particular conference, and he was lucky enough to get gifted with like 2 tickets that he was able to give away. Now, I saw him post about that on his social media, and I immediately responded. I was like, yeah, let me have it. Kind of kidding, but obviously reaching out. And he replied back, oh, sorry, it's taken for. So, there you go. And then about a day later, he reached out to me and he was like, do you seriously want the ticket? You can have it. And even though I was sloppy seconds, I was like, wait, yeah, like a free ticket. This is the sign that I should book my damn flight, hotel, and go. It is over break, so I'm not going to miss any school. And there's one big expense that I don't have to pay for. So within 24 hours, I had booked my flight, booked my hotel, and was marked it on my calendar, ready to go. So that was the weekend of February like 21st to 23rd. Now, some of you know me, some of you don't. I am, and it might not seem like that, right? I am a very big introvert. I don't love meeting new people. I don't love making new friends. I'm pretty quiet in social situations unless people speak to me. I don't like going up to people. I feel like I'm a bother. Um, I once worked out with the Jonas Brothers at the Montauk Yacht Club. Like I was staying at the Montauk Yacht Club and I went to the gym and I couldn't get in because it was a code and not a key. So I like looked through the door and this person opened the door for me, let me in. I walked right by them, said thanks, and hopped on over to the treadmill. As I was doing my walking to warm up, I realized, oh shit, that's Nick Jonas. And I only really recognized him because of his tattoos. Most people would probably ask for a picture. Most people might say, oh my God, you're Nick Jonas. I did not. I just continued to work out. He was doing his aerobics and I was bench pressing 40-pound dumbbells. But I don't get starstruck. I don't like to bother people. I like to kind of stay in my own little circle. I love to learn and I love to be in places of education, but I struggle very much with networking. So this was a big step for me. Flying by myself is no big deal. I don't mind that. Staying in a hotel by myself, no big deal. Organizing all the travel, no big deal. Going to a room filled with 100 individuals that I've never met and being locked in that room for 2 full days, big deal. Um, again, it was amazing. So I was very lucky. So at first, because walking into the van, oh yeah, we also, the hotel was 3.5 miles away from the venue. And I was 1000% set on just walking to the venue because I was petrified to get in a van with people I didn't know and just like talk. So I was like, yeah, I'm just going to wake up at 5 a.m. and walk. Well, I decided to sleep a little bit later because it was the first time I've been away from my kids in a quiet place for a long time and get in the damn van. And right away, the driver of the van, who was a helper and a fitness coach and a babe, was this kindest, most warm, welcoming person ever. Right away introduced herself, asked me questions about myself, so I didn't really have to pull things. She just asked. And everyone that got in introduced themselves. Where are you from? Introduced themselves. Where are you from? It was great. It was an introvert's dream of people. Now, a lot of these people have been to this conference 2, 3 years in a row, and some have been to other conferences together as well. So some were friends, some came with their gym partners. So they were a little bit um, more comfortable. There weren't a ton of just individuals there. And then, lucky enough, I met someone in the van that also knew Aram, my coach. He was also from New York, so we kind of bonded over that. And weirdly enough, he was the ex boyfriend of my neighbor. So, small world. But I had a buddy, which was nice. And we went into the conference and sat down, claimed our seats. I got my computer open, ready to take notes, and off it went. So the two men that run the conference are named Derek Mendoza and Nick Lamb, and both opened up on Friday with their presentations, and they were both incredible. Um, Derek was talking about elevating your coaching game. And the two things that I want to talk to you about with what I learned from him, one quote he said, which was awesome, right? Fuzzy targets don't get hit. When you don't know your goals, when you don't know what you're shooting for, it's very hard to hit it. When your goals are clear, when your lines or accomplishments that you want to hit are clear, you have a way better chance of accomplishing them. And I just really love that saying, fuzzy targets don't get hit. And then a thing that I want to take with me, right, as a coach is to over deliver but under promise. So I'm going to give you more than I ever told you I would, not reverse. I'm not going to speak a big game and then my actions suck. If anything, I'm going to speak lower and really deliver in my actions. Nick Lamb had a really great presentation, and it was all about storytelling, right? Like, we're in the people business as fitness coaches, and Google provides information, right? Anyone can find out pretty much anything. So almost to the flaw that there's too much information out there. So clients aren't going to come to me because of my knowledge. And of course, yes, that's part of it, but they're going to come to me because of the communication, because of the connection, because of the community I build. They're going to come for the experience. And I really do think I do a good job with that at CJLC. I know there's so much room to grow, especially after leaving this weekend. But his whole entire presentation was on how to tell a story to captivate your audience, to captivate your clients. He went into tone of voice, into body language, into engagement, how your voice actually sounds, right? Your normal voice doesn't have to be your storytelling voice. He went into how to make a story sticky, which I love that he said sticky a lot. And I just like that word. Um, right. So people can recall. Information gets forgotten, but stories get like deep rooted in your hard drive. And how to not be a reporter, but really bring it to life. And he ended us off with like, don't just decide, take action, right? He had a picture of three little frogs on a stick, and I think it's a fable or something. And it was like, there are three frogs on this log. Two decided to jump off. How many frogs are left? And most people yelled out one. And he was like, no, that's not correct. Because just because you decide to do something doesn't mean you did it, right? So don't decide, take action. And I think that is an amazing point for all my people out there trying to make changes in their fitness and their health. Don't just decide to make a change. You have to act. Even if it's a small act, do something. Actually, physically do something towards that goal. Then the next speaker was a man named Andrew Coates from Canada. He is a social media guru. He's very simple on social media, but he was very big with connection. He said that you need to take time to really reply to people, talk to people. Do not just like their stuff, give them a voice note, make them know that you're there for them and that you care. He was really inspiring for social media. Then we had a female boss, Molly Galbraith, and again, I doubt any of these amazing people are listening. But if I'm going to pronounce names wrong, I apologize. But people say my name's Cassie all the time, so whatever. So I actually took Molly's pre and post cert about a over the summer. Coach Steph also took it, and Coach Steph is also taking her pre and post like menopause cert. She is a girl power girl. Her story was unbelievable, super inspirational. She is again just such a boss. Owns this unbelievable company. Helps women everywhere. Is such an advocate for females. Um, Life, not just health and fitness. So she was just really great to listen to. She was also insanely nice. Like she was the first person I actually went up to on day one and just like told her that I had recently taken her certification and thought it was great. She was so kind. She asked my name twice, shook my hand, my opinions of it. She really made me feel like she cared about my opinions. And then um, I haven't really told the public this yet, but I've been recently diagnosed with PCOS, and she has it as well. So at the end of the conference, I went up to her to just ask her any personal advice, not even coaching advice for people with PCOS. And she was unbelievably helpful. She actually DM'd me on Instagram to give me a recommendation for a doctor in New York. So she had to go not from New York. She left me like 5 voice notes and stuff. Unbelievable. Go out of her way when she has a lot of other things on her plate. And we had a virtual assistant person come to try and like promote his business, and he was just a character. And then Sam Miller came. He was all about how to, grow your business, how you have to be, an expert in your craft. You have to be influential. You have to know and build your audience. And, like realize that money can also be used for time and for advertising and all that. There was lunch at some point on this day, and there was a poor food truck that we were supposed to order ahead of time, which we did. It was this cute little older couple that looked like they should have been leading a church sermon instead, button ups in a food truck. And when I tell you they were more overwhelmed than a cashier on Black Friday, we all waited over an hour for food, even though we ordered it at 10 a.m. They ran out of lettuce for these bowls. They ran out of rice. They ran out of drinks. It was a mess. And literally, you had 150 fitness professionals there, all just wanting chicken, rice, salsa in a bowl. Like, we do that every week for meal prep. We probably could have done a better job in that food truck than they did. But again, they were so nice, and you cannot be mad because again, they just were super overwhelmed. The food was good, but it was a mess. Let's just say they did not come back. And then a woman named Eve Guzman spoke. She was all about how to amplify your offer. So if you are launching a challenge or a coaching cohort or anything like that, how to make it be successful. Don't just launch stuff that people don't want. Make sure you talk about it, all the ins and outs of how to launch something successfully. She was awesome too. Another female that really lived and was in the struggle of being overweight and not knowing what she wanted to do. And now she is a boss bitch of her own company, killing it. Her chat was super helpful for a coach, something I'm going to 1,000% implement into my business. Like, and then the closer on day one, Luca Hocevar, who I didn't really know much about going in. Tommy knew a lot about him. He's a big deal. That's why he was last on the first day. He is an ex-pro basketball player. has this amazing gym in Seattle, does in-person training. It's just all about learning everything you can. I knew I loved him right away, one, because he's a hottie patati. And he said, even though it's a trend right now to hate on hustle, right? Like set boundaries, take care of yourself, make sure you relax. He's like, fuck that. Hustle culture is where it's at. You have to hustle if you want to make a business. And I just all the time I was like, oh yeah, like, I agree. I will hustle. Everyone knows I hustle, right? Day in and day out. I'm looking for ways to do better. Couple of quotes that he mic dropped on us was to know and not to do is to not know. So if you know all about something, if you don't put it into action, it's you don't know. Basically, like you don't know. Confidence without evidence is delusion. Love that. Right? You have all this confidence in the world that you're a good coach, but you have no evidence. You're delusional. He was very much a fan of mentorship and knowledge, like, always read. He listed about, like, 8 books during his presentation. I was literally on my computer on Amazon buying every single one as he, listed them off. He talks about an awesome documentary about a Japanese sushi maker that we're gonna watch, like, tonight probably, and how you have to study people. You should read every book you possibly can. Why? Because the person that wrote that book took years and years and years of research and put it in a 250-page book. You can read that book in a week, right? So you just spark noted all his efforts. You got all his knowledge in a week that he put in for years. Read, 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 um, and practice. He did say that the best soccer player for the past 20 years was from Brazil because of all the practice they do, how they're out playing soccer every single hour of every single day. I did raise my hand and disagree that Messi is the best soccer player for the past 20 years, but the point is still the same that it is practice, practice, practice. So that night, we ended a little late because of the food truck epidemic, and that night was supposed to be a Top Golf social. So we had like 3 days. There was food. You could buy drinks, and you had to pay for your spot ahead of time, $65. So I paid for my spot a couple of days before. And if anyone knows me, did I go? Nope. I really had all intentions of going. I know it would have been good for networking, but I was so tired. Plano, Texas is an hour behind New York. So even though we got back to the hotel at 7:15 or 7:30, it was really 8:30 in my brain. And you guys know I could have bed at 8:30. And even though I didn't move much that day, my brain was rapid fire. So I was shocked. There was just no part of me that once put on real clothes and go take an Uber, do a sport that I sucked at. Probably would hurt my back doing. So I bailed. I gifted my ticket to someone, and I took a little walk around the hotel and made some dinner and went to bed. Another thing that I do want to pat myself on the back for being in Texas from Thursday night to Saturday night, so 3 days, I only ate 2 meals out, and both were lunch at the conference. I Instacarted groceries to the apartment, and our well, it basically was. It was a Marriott suite, so I had a sink, a microwave, a toaster, a stove. It was awesome. So I made myself breakfast. I made myself dinners. I even packed for the plane ride home. So I only had 2 meals out in a 3-day span. So I hit my macros every day. And my average steps were above 10,000 for the whole trip. So I was very proud of myself for my nutrition adherence while I was there, even though barbecue was wafting into my nose. So the next day, the first person was Adam Bornstein. He was all about building your audience. This guy is no joke. He is a badass who built a business for LeBron James, Lindsey Vonn, Cindy Crawford, and Arnold Schwarzenegger. Those four like all came together to build a supplement company, and Adam was in charge of it. So totally knows his shit. I really tried to listen and zone in on what he said. He ran Livestrong's website with all that amazing knowledge, and he was he was pretty lights out. He was a really great speaker. He made the audience engage. He was obviously a very brilliant businessman.
The next person, Shante Cofield, was really fun. She was a physical therapist, and she was all about scaling your impact, like how to make yourself out there, how to make someone remember you, how to, if you were to die, who's going to remember you. She was fun. She related herself to Woody from Toy Story because she had on like tight skinny jeans, cowboy boots, a cowboy hat, and she was like kind of like kicking around and pacing around the stage. And she kind of did look like him. She had a ton of energy. She was all about like branding and executing, relating, and had amazing ideas. She used to work for check boxes where we could fill in where and what we were doing good and also where our gaps were. He was great, someone that I'm definitely going to follow and look to. Then we had Nick Shaw, the, the quiet one in Art Strength, Dr. Mike Dawson, and how to build $100 million business. RP is no joke. They are so successful. They're very popular in CrossFit world. It's called Renaissance Periodization. They have a macro template. They now have a training app. They're all about hypertrophy. And Dr. Mike has, well, I guess RP has a YouTube, but Dr. Mike is the face of it. He is very off kilter. He is out of his tree. He is brilliant. Nick Shaw, obviously also brilliant. He was the quiet one. And he went over the 7 principles on how to really build that business. A couple of the points that he said was that you have to be authentic. People want to trust you. They need to trust someone they're going to hire. And all the things you out there now, people are getting better at figuring out what they should. Be yourself. And drop your ego. You don't always have to have the best idea, especially if you start to build a team. It's okay to let others have a good idea. It's all about giving. Give free content to people, right? The more free stuff, the more you educate them, the more they trust you, the more they want to work with you. And don't be an insult, right? Culture matters. And then there was the awesome gal panel, two women that have built multi-million-dollar businesses, pretty much starting from scratch. They were both beautiful, they were both motivational and inspirational. Maybe we can help you with them. We have to think. And then we had the famous Paul Roberts. Now, he was another unbelievable energy speech. He was all about creating a tribe. And I very much connected to him because that's something I really like and want to do at CJLC. I want to create a tribe, and I call the girls my tribe all the time. Um, I want to create community, right? You are a part of something that's for more than just weight loss, right? There's a reason to join the coach, there's a reason to join the community. And yes, they might feel those same times. There's also something else you're looking for, some sort of like acceptance and oh shit, I get these people, they get me, they're here for me. And that's what I want to create. If you went through that, I think this presentation was called like the 27 strategies, kind of strategies. Brilliant. And they all make sense. And I also, so I took a lot of notes, and I also have like another page open with things I wanted to implement like right away when I got home. And I think he pretty much had the most. There are so many things I just wanted to implement right away for CGLC. And he said, and it's basically all for the customers, all for my clients. I just want them to feel loved. I want them to have the best experience ever. I want them to feel loved. A couple of things he said was, we had like kind of gang signs, you know, but like you're big enough where you're walking around and you do a certain sign and you're like, oh shit, that person knows who I am. That's great. They're part of my tribe. He said to make their logo tattooable because some of the dudes that he coaches tattoo him. He's all about coaching men over 40, creating the alpha male where, you know, they don't complain. They're strong. They support their women. They're queens, right? And he creates this alpha male tribe that really dives into his system and his beliefs, and it's just freaking awesome. Him and his wife seem so cool and so badass. And then unfortunately, a power couple came on, Kelsey, and I don't remember, sorry. But I had to leave early. My flight was like an hour shy of when the conference was going to end. So I missed them. And then I missed Jordan's diet, which is such a bummer because I'm such a fan of his. And I heard he was really awesome. He didn't necessarily do the presentation, but he did questions and answers. And it's a bummer to miss him. But the whole event was just, it was awesome. The airport. There's about 20 minutes from the hotel, and it's about $75 each way. Insane. I also fucked up my people on my home, gave them the wrong address. So that was but I'm already looking to do more. I love learning. If I could go back to college, I guess I could. If I could go back to college for free right now and just sit in on classes, I would do it. I love learning. I love taking notes. I just love taking out knowledge. So it was incredible. And I could meet my coach in person. He was just as funny and honest in real life. Again, I can't thank him enough for getting me there. I met another one of the clients that he got there and made friends. That talk on social. So that's a big deal for me. Maybe next conference I'll actually go to a social event, but I think it should be like a morning event. Maybe. Like I just can't do it late. This week. But it was incredible. I'm already looking into a business mentor and a coaching mentor because there's so much that I want to do with the amazing women that I coach, and I've kind of hit my glass ceiling with what it is. So that is going to be a big step for me, right? I'm going to invest in the business. I'm going to invest in myself. It's not cheap, but I know that it will not only benefit me, but it will benefit these amazing women that I'm going to work with. And I'm already looking for another conference. I really wish to go with coaches in Vegas and Europe, but starting the week, but hopefully next year. And again, I know this is like a typical podcast, and there might not be so much that you guys can take from this, but even the fitness coaching podcast, all of these lessons we apply to anything that we do, right? Like, be a good storyteller. Like, people remember stories. Like, everyone has a story. Even if you don't think you do, you can do something that means something to someone. Be genuine, be authentic, work hard, learn, practice whatever you love, practice it until you can't practice it anymore. And it was just inspiring together. It didn't really matter if you were a fitness professional or not. It was a great environment. Everyone was so warm, and I did looking for it. It just was and it was so great to ask. So how that I moved, like getting you a picture of people before you go. So he took me out and asked, and then I swooped into the picture. So I can break down some boundaries for myself. I'm going to practice and get better with friends and speaking to people every time I go. And I hope you guys enjoyed this. This little recap. I know you guys enjoyed this because people kept asking me to tell them about it. So again, not the full podcast. We will get back to the normal education stuff next week. But again, I hope this was an interesting one to listen to. If you have any questions on any of the people that spoke, or if you want to see the notes I took, I took, I think it was 15 pages of notes. They do make sense for them just looking for any kind of professional. I think it would be super interesting. I cannot wait to go next year. It's already on the books, just moving it for some dates, and I'm fully ready to take Jeff and Tom, do it as a song, and then have an awesome day. Remember, consistency, right? Every single person this weekend preach the slow game, right? We're in this for the long haul. The large tortoise. You do not need instant gratification because it goes away. Just keep showing up for yourself. Be patient. Trust in the like 90% is where we sit happy. Okay? Not for 100. It's 30. Just keep showing up for yourself. Be there for yourself, but lean into the community that can help you. Have an awesome day.